So my mother wouldn't pay for anything, and it was really difficult for me to actually get food to eat, because she would never cook, or what was left over from the food that everyone else ate, because there were five of us and her husband ate first. There was never anything left, and there were times when the dog would get more food than I would, and I would have to fight him for it. I got a job, and I got a job at Burger King, and I was gay bashed, and the man was arrested but released on his own bail. And because it was not in the jurisdiction, they lowered the charges, and he was eventually released. And he got away with him and his friends, six of them, beating me up and jumping me. I've been robbed at gunpoint. I've been bullied and harassed. But you see, as I'm going on, these are stories that everyone in the LGBTQ community has faced. We have all faced some type of discrimination and hate. And these stories are actual events, things that have happened to me. And so many people are aware, but no one is actually listening. I'm doing these videos to have an actual recording of what is happening, because somebody will listen eventually, and maybe perhaps when you're seeing visually it would change your mind. But my life has been a very hard one, and let's talk about Poppy Sungo. Poppy Sungo was a person that was created, a character that was created when I signed a contract with the number one porn production in the world at the time, which was Macho Fucker, and I signed an exclusive contract with them, and I became Poppy Sungo. However, that was not my first movie, because I have done several other films where I went under my actual name, or my nickname, KC, and Poppy Songo was so expressive with who he was, and people hated him, but he didn't care, because he had everything that they wanted. So to me, it really didn't matter, and I had so many fans and people vying for attention and trying to touch me and, do all these things to me except love me. And then it just stopped. It stopped. I didn't understand what happened, and the lavish and the luxury and the fame was gone. Like, where did it go? People say that I've stolen someone else's name, but it's actually vice versa. His name was William Perez, and he actually saw me on Adam for Adam, and he said that he liked my name, and he did a movie for Latino Fan Club. But my rival movie was with Big City, another production company here in New York City, and I premiered as KC, and then KC went on to do Better Act That Hole and Raw Swagger, and I was enjoying it, and people were actually seeing me and wanting selfies, and it was really beautiful, and people would come out and pay on some occasions to see me. And once I met Motherfucker, it changed and I became Poppy Sungo, and it grew so much. I thought it, you know, when I was KC, I can walk down the street and no one bothered me. Maybe one or two people, you know. But when I became Poppy Sungo, it was constant people, and sometimes I would run, and you know, I ended up having to ask, you know, the production team for a bodyguard because, and a driver, and an assistant, and a designer, because it has to be part of the contract and the character Poppy Sungo. And Poppy Sungo was very beautiful. Poppy Sungo was very muscular and very attractive and sexual appealing and very dramatic. In fact, at one point, they named me, you know, they dubbed me the Joan Crawford of porn. So my rebuttal to them was, you know, just like Joan Crawford won her Oscar in bed, I'm going to win my Gavin in bed. And I did for a movie. And I was Entertainer of the Year 2012. I was so successful, you know, and then came Antonio Biaggi, and I knew I had hit the mark. You know, I was like, that's everything right there. Same thing with Hot Rod. I knew, I was like, this is it. You know, I made it to the top. And I was enjoying it. And then it all went away. Where did it go? Everybody that I kept asking afterwards, you know, like when it stopped, because it stopped for like a good 6 months, and I wasn't filming, and I wasn't traveling, I wasn't doing anything, and I was wondering why. And I started reaching out to production companies, and they either ignore me, or one production company, RawFuckClub, they sent me out to their studio in Jersey City, and then I had to take a cab, and then I waited. It was like in the middle of the West Bubblefuck. It was nowhere, and it was in some factory, and I was waiting outside the factory for 4 hours trying to text them and calling them like, what's going on? And I got no response. So the next day, I go to the studios, and Owen Hawk, Robert is his name, and I tell him like what's going on. He tells me he's sorry that there was communications and he wasn't checking his emails or something of that nature, but some stupid excuse, and he was gonna make it up by setting me up with another scene. So this scene was with Dimitri and some other dude, and we were supposed to confirm it and the location of it. I never received the location, so I didn't know where I was going, you know. And again, every time I tried to communicate and call, it was ignored. So I went to another company, and they ignored my requests and told me I wasn't jock enough. Poppy Sungo had a six-pack. Poppy Sungo was very muscular, and he was a god, you know, an ass like what? An ass you can bounce a quarter off of, you know. His ass was pretty tight, you know, and very likable and attractive. And yet, I wasn't jock enough, and that hurt me. It was like, whoa. Then other production companies were like, we don't fly models out, you know, and that was that. And the other one was, we're not filming at this particular time. Please check back another later when we're filming in the, you know, the April to May or whatever it was. And then I did, and they they never responded. So there was active communication with them, but they were all denying me. I even went to a talent agency, you know, because I did have an agent, but I still needed a talent agent, you know, to promote me. And so they refused me. And again, I was paying all these people, you know, and this has been going on for 6 months. I'm like, what's going on? and I had to let them all go. And they were like my family, and they were my friends, and no one's kept in touch with me, and no one's hired me to this day. Not that I would do it, but it really undermined all the work and effort that I put into being Poppy Songo, because I was in a gym so much, I ended up getting a job there just so I can work out. And I was always working out, preparing myself for the next role, and I've gotten many compliments from producers telling me that this is what they expect in their models, so I was doing everything right, and yet no one really wanted to hire me, and it was very offensive. My own community, they say, the only way to survive in living in, being a gay man and in the gay community is either doing drag or doing porn. I'm not gonna lie to you. When I was a stripper, I was making some good money, and Larissa Dumont, my famous baby, can tell you that. The drag queen Larissa Dumont, we used to perform all the time together, and it was very nice. And I miss doing that, But that's Poppy Songo. That's not who I am now. And Bill Clinton dying really affected me, and this pandemic has really affected me, and it continues to make me relive these memories. But what I find so disturbing is that why is it the memories that I do remember and do recollect are very evil and horrible and just painful to even share and tell and endure. It was torture. Is it who I am? Am I supposed to be a victim of abuse from everyone? Because it seems like I can't do anything in life, because every time I do something, I end up falling 5 steps back, and I'm stuck inside my safe space, which is my sanctuary and my room with a TV, just as I was when I was a child. I don't understand. I remember this guy I was talking to. He was a pilot for Continental Airlines, and he prepared me for this trip. They were interviewing for a flight attendant. Let alone for anyone who gets invited to that is a, like American Idol, like, well, I'm going to Hollywood, So I got in and I was able to do my interview, but here's how it had to go. He told me I had to wear makeup, and I also had to cover the holes in my ears. I had to wear their colors of the uniform, which were gold and blue, so my suit had to be gold and blue, and I had to sit a certain way and write notes and ask questions and not interrupt and do as they say, and just go with the flow. And I did. And at first, there were like maybe 200 people there. There were a lot of people there, all for one job. One job that paid only $20,000 a year. One job. And that's all they were paying. At the time, it was still bad, but not as bad as it is now, because if you're making $20,000, you're literally poor, and God, I pray for you. But we were all there, and we each had to say, the speech. Let me see if I can do it. Hi, this is Kenny Cruz. Welcome aboard Flight 392 on way to Orlando, Florida, where it's a sunny 78 degrees. Approximate air time 2.5 hours. On the left, please notice that you will see the boarding gate. Once the board fully closes, the gate will stop. Fasten your seatbelt light with light on. Something like that. But I was able to get through. So, and I say get through because after I said that, they gave me a slip and the piece of paper said, meet me in the Starbucks in gate 7. So I had to go to gate 7 and meet this perfect stranger. I mean, they had an ID tag, but it was a stranger, and I met them, and they take me to another place where it's a simulation, and I'm put on these goggles, and this is funny. It's a fat man, and I mean, I'm not trying to be like body insensitive, but he was large, and he needed 2 seats, and at the time, this is a known fact, that if you didn't fit in your seat, you would have to pay for the next seat, and it went on for a while, but, people had things to say, and I agree, it shouldn't matter. You should make me comfortable, while I'm flying. And so he kept asking for wine, and the passengers were still boarding. I'm like, sir, the safety and boarding of my passengers is my priority. I need to focus on that right now, and I'll address your situation when I get to it. I'll be right back. He then says, I want my wine, and starts raising a ruckus. So I say, okay, give me a credit card, and he hands me cash. And on airlines you can't accept cash; it has to be cards. And I'm like, okay, damn. Mind you, the passenger is still boarding, so I get up and go get the wine and come back and bring it to him. And he berates me, and he's just unruly. And now he probably would have been removed from the flight, but he was just there and saying all these negative things, and I'm like, is there anything else you need, sir? Is there anything else I can provide you with? And he's just going on. And so then I had to go there, and I said, sir, did you pay for your second seat? And then I can see through the goggles, once I said that, they were snickering and laughing, and I thought maybe it was a good thing to say, and that was the end of it. They said stop, and I didn't get a slip, That was with JetBlue, actually. Because now when I think about it, I'm thinking about United and as thinking them all as part of Continental, but Continental was different. See why I can't talk? This is all raw, unedited footage of me just speaking, and I'm getting mixed up in my thoughts. But because I'm getting mixed up, there's so much to share and so much to tell. I am getting lost in my words, and I really hope you follow me and understand what I'm going through. It's very painful, and please excuse me, but no one's ever listened to me before, and it's just piles and piles and piles of hurtful, traumatic stress and anxiety and abuse. And nothing has happened, and I've never sought justice or gotten justice for the things that have happened to me as a gay man. This is horrific, and I need someone to understand what's going on, and perhaps when I'm dead and gone, who knows when that will be, but given the recent events, I'm highly considering it, and I really hope someone will see these videos and see the pain that I'm actually going through. It's not easy, and now you're with me, I guess, because I don't know. I'm not actually talking to you, am I? I'm just looking at the camera. I don't understand, and why? Why? Why is no one listening? Why is no one there? You know. So that's where we were getting at. So when I did with Antonio Biaggi, I was like, whoa, I made it, you know, and it all just stopped. And I had to fire those people, and it was really hard on me because everyone was rejecting me. And I don't know what happened. And it's called cancel culture now. I still don't believe in it, but I'm actually blacklisted, which I think is worse than cancel culture. Their refusal to work with me is beyond incomprehensible. What did I do wrong? So I kept trying year after year and no one. And I have receipts and I've provided them with receipts. And no company was willing to hire me. Now, this was before OnlyFans and just for fans. Now, I'm struggling at this point, and really, my fans are missing me and wanting me to come back with a new movie because it had been since 2012, and now we're in 2018, and I haven't done anything, and I'm reaching out to these people, and I'm finding that they blocked me or they they say yes, but then when they come to New York City, you know, or they reduced the rate of my rate that I was, getting paid for, and they would tell me they'll get back to me. No one ever said I was ugly. No one ever said they didn't want to film with me, but they were all giving me these excuses on why they couldn't do it. Actually film with me. And then they started to ignore me. And then I find out that people that I had never even said so much as boo to blocked me. And I was beginning to think everyone was talking about me. And it was all negative because for you to block someone you never spoke to, it has to be really negative, and that's the reason why they're blocked, right? So, I hate spam email. Spam email is, but you know what? I can't say that I hate it because it's the only thing that actually I get because there are no more fan mail and people liking me and stuff. You know, even with Gay Topics on Instagram, where you can find all the latest daily hot topics and breaking news, it's just that. When I try to engage as the host, no one really actually paid attention. When I dog died, Bill Clinton, I put him on my Instagram, and he only got 18 likes, and I like doing it gay topics because now it wasn't so much people actually knowing who I am. I still use Papi Songo, but people still don't know who I am. But on my YouTube, and as I get more personal with you, I'm beginning to think that Papi Songo is no longer in existence. And here's December 2018. Men.com was posting that they were actively searching for models. So that they want the model to post a picture. And I posted a picture. And in 24 hours, it had over 1,200 interactions, but not one single like. So I commented on it, and I was like, wow, all these interactions and no one's actually liking my picture. I guess I'm ugly. Amon Rizzo, everybody knows Amon Rizzo in the gay adult industry. Amon Rizzo replies, "This is why nobody wants to hire you, because you think you're ugly. Who wants to hire someone that thinks they're ugly?" True, but if I was sexy, at least they would have liked my picture, and they didn't like my picture. So I removed the picture, but he kept going on and on and on, and there was a battle until eventually men.com deleted the thread. I posted that here on YouTube because I have the receipts, and so I posted it on a video. It was really offensive, and on that day, December 18th, 2018, Poppy Songo was no more. Poppy Songo was dead. I made that clear. People would thought that I had faked my death. No, you're stupid. This is Hollywood. This is gay Hollywood. So I go out like all the Hollywood stars. And I OD'd. And I committed suicide. And I couldn't believe people were still questioning the fact that I wasn't dead. I was in a coma for 2 weeks and then had to go undergo a 90-day prevention program in Bellevue Hospital. I don't understand why people were thinking that I was faking that. And when I did that, I was still alive, so I knew that I had a chance, and this is not the way to go. I have a purpose. And I realized my purpose was my dog. And I truly felt guilty for, even trying to leave him behind. And it put a huge burden on me, so I knew that was not the right way to go. But it taught me that it won't be the right way going forward. It was a very valuable lesson, but I accomplished what I needed to accomplish. Poppy Songo was no more. At least Poppy Songo, the porn star, was no more. I did GayTopix with Poppy Songo because I thought perhaps maybe the sensible and reasonable fans would actually follow me and like me and see what's going on in my life, but they didn't. And I like that nobody knows me. But this is my story. This is my actual story as Poppy Songo. So when they released me from the prevention program, I got home and I felt this huge burden on my dog, and I felt really bad. And I knew then and there that Poppy Songo, the porn star, was dead, and I will never do porn again. Never. And in fact, I stopped going to the gym for a long time, and because I never liked me, Kenny Cruz, never liked going to the gym. But I was doing it for Poppy Songo, and I couldn't even get a date. I remember this production company telling me that they needed a model, so I had to find them a model. I'm like, oh, I don't even have a date or a hookup or a BFF or somebody to do the film with, And I was really fucked up and mortified at that point. I'm like, damn, you're the actual company and you're asking me to find a model for you? This is never going to work. And so Poppy Songo was dead. There is no more Poppy Songo. And as this confession keeps going forward, Poppy Songo will be said no more. I am Kenny Cruz. Going forward, my name is Kenny Cruz. I'm going forward with the person who I am. And this is my story. These are actual life events that have occurred and happened in my life. I am sharing these in dramatizations to show you how, as a gay man, it's been extremely painful and very lonely. My community has not even reached out to me. And I feel shunned from everything. And the only place I feel safe is in my room with my TV. These events have changed me. They've broken me. I am broken. I know that. I know that. I'm damaged goods. But it was just every time I tried to do something better, it always ended up falling 3 steps back. And those 3 steps back are here in my room. You know, my dog lived for 21 years. Bill Clinton lived for 21 years. That's a huge accomplishment. And I've been trying to adopt another dog, but I don't think it's worth it. I don't think I want to be bothered with it. I really don't. They keep denying me, and I my vet died of COVID-19 literally a year ago, and she owned and operated her veterinary hospital and here in Harlem, and it closed. Her name is Dr. Butler. And once it closed, everything was gone. So these agents, rescue agencies, and things of that nature, adoption agencies, they're asking for medical records. I don't have those medical records. Oh, we need to speak to your vet so we can make sure everything that he was up to date with his vaccines and things like that. I'm like, why? He's dead. And my vet is dead. I can't access those records, you know. And then they're asking for references, and I give them my super as a reference and a direct contact to the link. Excuse me. And a direct contact to the link to the apartment to the pet policy. Lord, I need editing. And I give them a direct link to the landlord's information in regards to the pet policy. So I use him as a reference, and I still don't get a reply. I'm a U.S. Army veteran. I was a sergeant in a canine unit of the military police. I don't understand why you are not allowing me to adopt. My dog was a service dog. Bill Clinton was a service dog. I trained him. He lived to be 21. Is that not proof enough? What more do you want from me? Do you want me to give blood? I'm sick of this and sick of trying to beg people for my acceptance or accept me for who I am. Is it because I'm gay? Most people like my family, I know it's because I'm gay. Then there are others who hate the fact that I did porn, but understand porn is a job. Porn is a great source of income, and it had many benefits, and I was living the life. So how dare you degrade me for doing my job as an actor? Then the same thing with veterans. People treat us like shit. Like shit. Every time you speak up, all they want to do is shove pills down your throat. I don't want to be a zombie. I don't. I There are over 40,000 homeless veterans that come home each year. Each year. I was one of them. The way they treat us, our education, everything that we've learned. As I said, I was a sergeant. Everything that we've learned in the military was non-existent here as a civilian. I have classified information, and I'm still not regarded to do a normal job, or even serve as a police officer in the NYPD, or fly as a flight attendant on your airline, you know, or work as your assistant, you know, or be your friend, or have sex with. God, I would love somebody to touch me. It's been so long. Like every model, and especially with fans too, because fans are always infatuated. You know, so there's a big difference. And when you're under contract and you're doing your business and you're modeling, you can't have sex with random people. Moreover, you gotta wait for the money shot. So the money shot was always important, and you couldn't waste it on random sex. And I stopped having sex, and I haven't had sex since 2012, Christmas Day, with Antonio Biaggi. He knows that. He knows that. And he still refuses to even talk to me. Well, that's how these things are. And that is the story of Papi Songo. So Papi Songo is no more. He is gone. Unfortunately, after surviving the suicide attempt, I have severe neurological damage in my right arm. And I'm not able to actually move it or lift it anymore, so I couldn't go to the gym. And it's been like this for a long time, and I've seen so many doctors, and they've all tried to help assist me with my arm. And I've explained to you in a video when I was actually in the hospital for special surgery, showing you that there's a problem with my neck, and they need to replace it, you know, with steel rods or put whatever they put in there and do surgery. Unfortunately, because I don't have an emergency contact, the surgery can't happen, because you know you need someone there when you go through anesthesia. So I don't have anybody there. See, everything that I explain to you and tell you about these things in my life has always end up not succeeding or going the way it's supposed to be. People always told me that I look at life through a different lens, but I'm sharing you the life that is reflecting upon this lens. It's a really tragic, sad, horrific life. My life is I don't know who I am or where I'm going or what I'm doing. I'm just talking in front of a camera. I don't. What's going on? What's going on? Why do people don't like me? I'm very shameful at my life and how it's transpired and how things have happened. And it's really unfortunate. Because I could have been so much better. So somebody may ask, why did you get into porn? Well, the reason why I got into porn in the first place was because when I was in deployment in Afghanistan and Iraq, I couldn't have sex. It was don't ask, don't tell. So I was there 9.5 years without sex. And I needed it. And the only way I could get it was to actually do porn. And I thought, what a better way opportunity so I can get paid and travel again, like I was doing in the military, you know. And people still don't like me. In fact, that was that was like the bull's eye for me, like the brick wall that I just jumped in front of, you know, or just hit face on, you know, dead on, was that I was dating this dude, and he refused to have sex with me, and call me his boyfriend. But you wanted me around and your attention, and so like we're like friends. But whenever I tried to talk to somebody else, he would get mad. I'm like, but you're not having sex with me. What am I supposed to do? You know? So I would tell him that I'm going to visit my, family members, and I needed to travel. And when I traveled, I did my porn, and I did it for a long time. And when he found out, he stopped speaking to me. I don't understand why he left me either, because we weren't actually having sex, and you didn't call me your boyfriend. There's other guys too that I would talk to, and they told me it's not the right time to look for men, and they're not looking for a relationship right now. But the very next person that they date, they end up marrying. So what was so wrong with me? Same thing with sex. Like, if I did find someone, because I would be online forever. I would be on there for days on Adam for Adam and Grindr and Scruff looking for a hookup. And when the person did, it was just, even though sometimes it may have been blown away sex, like really hot and heavy, they never called back or responded. There was this one dude who told me that he used to watch me work out in the gym, and I was like, oh, that's sexy. But why after you all this time? He's like, I like watching you. And he's like, but you still could introduce yourself, and we had sex. It was okay. I mean, it could get better, but because I didn't know him, it was what it was. And after we had sex, he left, and I never saw him again. In fact, when I went to reply to his email on Scruff, he blocked me, and the phone number blocked. Then I'm like, okay, what the fuck, So it makes you think, like, okay, I understand maybe you just got your nut, but what about my nut? What about helping me out? Like, I just helped you out and hooked you up, It's always irrelevant. It's been a long time since somebody sucked my dick, and I don't think I ever felt somebody's lips on my dick, to be honest with you. Aside from doing movies, but when you do movies, they're work. So you're constantly stopping, and it's editing, and the retakes, and you're actually on the set. It's a movie, and people don't understand that. People don't understand that. It's just a movie, and I'm not actually enjoying it sometimes, and I'm doing what I have to do. And when I did enjoy it, that was the only good time that I actually had sex, Excuse me. It was the only time that I actually had sex. So I'm like, well, what to do? People are avoiding me, and I don't understand. And it became so common that, there was no need to go on Grindr and Facebook and Twitter, even though they banned me and blocked me and reported me. And I've gotten such horrible and horrific emails from people. All the hate just kept coming toward me, and I just didn't understand why. Because had these people actually knew who I am and what I did for this country, and what I did for my dog Bill Clinton for 21 years, would only show them that I'm actually a very nice guy. You won't like me now because I'm old. I never thought I'll say that. And be this age, and without somebody. It's I can say I live two worlds. I know what it's like to be sexy, and I know what it's like to be ugly, and I feel ugly and hurt. I don't want to leave this room. I don't. Remember, you're always in a mix with GayTopix. Again, I'm your host, Kenny Cruz, and this is GayTopix Confessions. These are actual true life events and dramatizations of my life. These are actual true life events and dramatizations of my life. These are actual real life stories. All rights reserved.